Hello everyone, my name is oldish 22 and today I am here to talk to you guys about my MMO history. Now, I thought this would just be fun to talk about and maybe connect with you on maybe your MMO history. But really, I just want to connect with more people and just kind of give some stories of through my MMO history of video games. And what got me into MMOs and stuff like that. And while I do this, I'm just mining here in Final Fantasy 14 because I don't have footage for all this. I started streaming like 5 years ago, and I started out as like variety streaming and stuff like that. So I don't really have all the MMO stuff. But anyways, let's get started. The first game that I do want to talk about that I have played that kind of introduced me into MMOs, even though it is not technically an MMO, but it definitely was a massive multiplayer action RPG game called Diablo 2. And me growing up, we did not have the best internet, we did not have the best computers, and there was only certain times that I could play games. But Diablo 2 was one of my first online games that I got to play. Now, obviously, I played like other RPGs and stuff like that, like Shining Force 2, if you ever played that from the Sega. But talking about MMOs here. Anyways, though, Diablo 2, it's not really an MMO, but it has some like MMO things that like introduced me to the MMO space, like trading for ruins and stuff like that, and just the pure leveling and seeing what's valuable in the world and doing certain things like that, trying to get your torches and stuff and get a perfect torch, items like that. So it introduced me to like the items of the RPG world, like with MMOs, action RPGs and stuff like that, and then like the economy base, especially with like trading and all that. But Diablo 2 played a really big part of getting into, especially the fantasy genre too. And I absolutely love the fantasy genre, way more than the sci-fi. And I'll talk about actually, because I've played a sci-fi MMO, but we'll talk about that later. But Diablo 2 is very important to me, one of my favorite games of all time. And I just loved it. And I started playing Diablo 2, I think it was like I'll say it's like 4th or 5th grade. I was pretty young playing Diablo 2. And like I said, I could only play like either at my dad's or my aunt's house because they had a computer that could run it at the time. Also, we didn't have very good internet growing up because my parents were split, stuff like that, and I lived with my mom. And my dad lived like 7 hours away, but when I got to go visit him, I usually got to play like Diablo 2 and stuff like that, because he's the one that introduced me into this genre. But yes, I love Diablo 2. It was great. It was fun. Learned a lot of things from it. And then about middle school-ish time, I got into a game because a lot of my classmates at the time, they started playing RuneScape. And this was about middle school time. So I'm 30 years old. So this has to be like, what? I don't know. Middle school will be 2002, 2003-ish time. So kind of the beginning. I think RuneScape came out, I don't know, was it 2001 RuneScape came out? You guys have to comment down below. Maybe you guys know, or I could look it up, but I'm mining here, guys. I'm mining. I'm trying to get my mining level up. But no, RuneScape was the first MMO. I think I technically have played some like web browser MMOs, but I'm just not going to count those. So I'd say like RuneScape was my first real MMO. And RuneScape by far was like one of my favorite for like crafting and gathering. I think that's what got me super addicted to other MMOs with crafting and gathering, because just like with mining, like look, I'm doing mining right now in RuneScape. That's pretty much all I did for a long time. I really enjoyed the crafting and the mining. Definitely getting coal, which a funny story of that is my old man actually got into a little bit of RuneScape. He played a little bit, not too long, but he did play for a little bit. He got into the crafting and gathering and stuff like that. And there was like this one game, I don't know why. Oh, I do remember why. There was this one like NASCAR game that I wanted to download on his computer. And the reason why I wanted to is it was a game that you could like make your own like drivers, make your own cars, and I used to always like to make like all my family and friends and like start a racing league on that game, but he uninstalled it, and he said if I wanted it installed again, then I would have to mine 2,000 coal for him. So like while I was at work, that I could mine coal for him on his character, right? to be able to download this game again, and I did. It was a lot of coal, but yeah, I played RuneScape probably for, I don't know, it was at least like a year, maybe 2. It wasn't super, super long, and I wasn't like hardcore into RuneScape. Like I did really enjoy it, but I wouldn't say like I was like going for like top gear, going out in the wild, getting crazy kills and stuff like that. I didn't do like the end game bosses. I pretty much just did like a lot of the mining and tried to make money. Was the whole ordeal of RuneScape for me. 'Cause I just wanted to make money, and I liked mining a lot. And RuneScape was really cool to see. RuneScape was really cool to see people, like the leveling process of RuneScape was really cool, because if you knew someone that got to 99 on any of the what was it called, like I don't know, it's not abilities, but like if it's mining or fishing or magic or whatever it is, right? Whatever's the skills. So there we go, skills. That you knew that they put a lot of work into it, because like 99 took freaking forever, and this is back when people didn't know the whole game or anything like that, you know, back in its time, old school RuneScape. And you just knew they put in time, they did a lot of work, and that was like a really cool feeling to see if you've seen somebody like that. Or if was it like there was like a whip or something, like this like really OP weapon. Like you can just see it. And I love that about MMOs. I think that's one of the best things in MMOs is when you see a person that has like the top gear in game, and you're like, man, dude, I want to do whatever he did to get that sword or axe or shield or that set or whatever it is, you know. I think that's really important in MMO, and RuneScape kind of taught me back then about that. So I really did appreciate RuneScape at its time, and it was a lot of fun. Again, I didn't get to play a lot, you know, growing up, because even around middle school, we still don't have the best computer. We did not have the best internet, and yeah, it was really, really, really tough to play. Like I played a lot of offline games. Pretty much I'd go over to my friend's house to play online games. Is what I had to do for a long, long time. But you know, my mom was raising 2 boys, and you know, working a job and going to school at the same time. So she did her best, and she took good care of us. And I love both my parents and stuff like that. But yeah, you know, she did her best, and it was whatever. I still she bought us a lot of video games. Like that was like one of her things. Is a lot of them were offline. Not complaining at all. Not. I played so many like PlayStation 2 games, but I just was an offline gamer, is what I was trying to get at. So times I got to play on that, it was like huge. Like I would play for hours when I got to play like RuneScape and hop on. So. But there was another game coming around the corner, which a lot of people know, especially in the early 2000s. And I do remember hearing one of my classmates talk about this game. And the funny thing is when he was talking about it, it sounded really cool and everything like that, right? But he told me that you had to pay $15 a month to play this game. And I was like, why in the world would you pay $15 a month for a game that you already bought? Because back then it was like, it just wasn't a thing, like, at all. And he told me about it, and I said, oh, that sounds really cool. I remember seeing, like, I think there was like an old World of Warcraft like game book thing that he had, and he was like showing me. I was like, oh, that you know. Anyways, yeah, we're talking about World of Warcraft. If you didn't know, I'm pretty sure you did know. World of Warcraft is what made me go hardcore mode, like gaming. I don't know, as long as I could, pretty much at times, like 12 hours a day. A game that got me excited to wake up in the morning and want to play the game all day. I feel like that's all I wanted to do, right? I loved World of Warcraft. And the funny thing is the first time I got to play World of Warcraft, right, was at a friend's house. Again, I didn't have good internet or a good computer, but I went to a friend's house and he had World of Warcraft. And I remember we were staying up, I think we were playing probably like Halo or something, and he was playing, you know, he showed me his character in WoW and stuff like that, and I was like, all right, that's cool. And I think they went to bed around, like, I don't know, it was like 2 in the morning. I was staying over his house. It was my buddy Josh there, and I asked him if I could like hop on and maybe just create a character and just like try the game out. And he said, you know, he told me I could. So I hopped in. I made like an orc. Man, I think it was like an orc warrior was my first character. But my God, did I fall in love with the game. Like literally, I stayed up till like, I think when they woke up. I played till like 10 in the morning. I didn't go to bed that night. I played till like 10 in the morning. And I think I only got to like level 12, maybe. I think it was like level 12-ish. And man, did I just have a blast, like exploring the world. Had no idea what I was doing, because if you guys remember back then, because this is back in vanilla. I think it was like in the middle of vanilla was the first time I got to play it. Back then, there was no add-ons, or maybe there was, but I had no idea at the time. And you literally had to sit there and read the quests and try to figure out where the hell you had to go. So, but it was a great time. That was the first time I ever got to play World of Warcraft, and my God, I was addicted. So obviously, I had to try to convince my mom, I think it was my mom, to get this game, because my dad at the time did not play it. And I think my dad at the time had the same expression as like me, or the same thinking as me when like $15 a sub, like, I don't know about that. But I remember then I got the game. Like I begged my mom, I got the game. I remember making a night elf. Oh yeah, it was a night elf druid that I went with, and I remember like doing all the night elf questing in the night elf zone. And I remember I was so excited. I told my dad that, you know, he had to try this game out, and it took me a while to get my dad to play WoW. But my dad barely, like, my dad, he's not a gamer, but he is. It's like what Asmongold says, like, WoW, you know, like WoW people are not gamers, right? Like they just play WoW. They don't play other games. My dad's kind of like that. He has like 3 games that he plays, at least of the last like 20 years. So, actually maybe 4 or 5 technically. There was 2 other ones that he did play for a bit. But yeah, so Diablo 2 was one of them. World of Warcraft that he played. Baldur's Gate 2 was another one that he played quite a bit. Before Diablo 2, actually. I remember him and my cousin playing that. And then he played NHL like once in a while. And then Path of Exile was the other big one, which we'll get to later. anyways, though, yeah, I begged my mom. I finally got it, and then I begged my dad that he had to play it, and then he played it. And I remember asking him, I was like, "What do you think?" Because he played a couple hours, and he's like, "It's all right." And then, truth be told, you know, he's still technically playing it on and off, not as much anymore, but like on and off he plays. Um, but yeah, it's a great experience. It just was so cool. And it's something I miss, and it's just because the internet is how it is today, where like back then, like to get a guide, like, you know, back then you had we get like the game book to tell you where to go and stuff like that. That was kind of the main thing. There was Thoughtbot. I remember Thoughtbot. I had to use Thoughtbot a few times, but it definitely wasn't the best quest tracker, if you want to say. So like questing took a long time just because you had to like read where the hell you had to go and stuff like that. So I kind of missed that time because it was cool, because then you would talk to people around town like, hey, where do I go kill these alligators at, right? It's somewhere in like wetlands, and you have to go over here and do that. But yeah, I played WoW. I played WoW all the way up to WoD, and I have many stories I could tell, like talk about World of Warcraft. I mean, there was a point, this is like Wrath of the Lich King times, where WoW was like the biggest game in the world. Like literally, like my school, like I would say like most of our like football team played World of Warcraft. Because I played WoW. So RuneScape was middle school. WoW was between, I think I got to play it in 9th grade. And then I didn't get it though until I think 10th or 11th grade, I think it was. Because my dad, one of my Christmas gifts, I actually got a laptop, and I got to actually play WoW and stuff like that. So when I got my laptop, that's when I really got to like dive into World of Warcraft. But yeah, like most of my football team would play World of Warcraft, and it's so funny to me because there was days like in gym class where we would literally walk around the hallway as our exercise. We just walk and we talk about World of Warcraft the whole time, like what we were gonna do that night, like if we were raiding, getting ready for ICC and stuff like that. Like it was just crazy, like how big. And if you didn't know how big, I would say WoW back in the day was as big as, like, the only thing that comes close to it recently would be like Fortnite. You know how like TV shows and the news were all talking about Fortnite and stuff. Like WoW was that equivalent, but like when it happened to WoW, it was like super unheard of because like video games were not that popular, I would say. They were popular, but they were nowhere near as popular what they are today, or even recently. So like WoW was at a weird time. And if it's actually a really good video, I would definitely check out the Mad Season video, because that does a really good documentary of what WoW was and what it is today. So I just watched that recently. It was very good. And oh, I gotta go over here. But yeah, so like WoW was crazy. I played WoW until WoD. And like I said, I could sit here and talk like so many stories of like crazy stuff, like my friend getting married in WoW and us kind of screwing up his wedding. It's not the one that made the news. Not that one. That one was terrible. But no, but like following my buddy who was getting, like, he had drama with these girls in World of Warcraft, and it was hilarious. I remember him getting like divorce papers in the mail and just really goofy stuff like that, or the PvP, the world PvP moments, camping people and stuff like that. And I remember when when ICC came out, or ICC, the Lich King came out, and I remember we were on a crappy server. We were on Tithaldron, and this is we actually transferred because of this reason. They literally when we got it, we didn't know we were on a server that was like 80% horde. 20% Alliance, and we were Alliance. So when the expansion came out, we literally were in Northrend, and we could not like walk out of Northrend, like the first starting place, because we would just get camped. There was so much horde everywhere. We literally couldn't do anything, and we said screw it, and we went to a PvE server after that because we were just done. Like, you couldn't even play the game. And yeah, there's just a lot of good moments, and like I said, I could sit here talking about it, but we got to get more into the MMO history of stuff. And man, like WoW, the WoW back then, like the systems and everything, like leveling really mattered. When you got to level 60, it was like a huge accomplishment. Like, if you knew a guy or a girl that had like 5 level 60s back then, or 5 level 70s, whatever, because of BC time, like, you're like, goddamn, like, you've played this game for a while. It's kind of like, you know, in RuneScape, where you know people that had 99 skills and stuff like that. You just know that they put in a lot of time, because back then it was a lot of time to put in to level. And I love that leveling. It really mattered in the game, and it did take a while, but I enjoyed it, man. I don't know how it is like nowadays with people, like the vanilla leveling experience. I guess Classic came out and people got the experience there, but I really enjoyed the open world, and I like the harder quests to grind and stuff like that. It was kind of fun. There are certain areas I really enjoyed to go to. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And I really enjoyed crafting and gathering in WoW back then as well. It was very, very good. Like, WoW was very good, like social MMO. There was lots to do. But yeah, eventually the game, in my opinion, got worse and worse after Cataclysm. And I'm not gonna go like over all the whole like history, but with my history of it, when I got to Cataclysm, I switched to pretty much PvP. So I raided in BC and Wrath of the Lich King were my 2 expansions that I raided. And then Cataclysm came out. I decided to go PvP. And I did a lot of PvP in Cataclysm and Vista Pandaria, just because I just wasn't feeling the raiding scene. I was very mad at the time. I think that one of the biggest reason is I didn't like what they did when they switched to normal and heroic. I really liked like the BC, where you had to beat one raid to get to the next raid, right? Like there's that progression where you had a guild or whatever, you had to beat the first tier to get to the next tier, right? And, you know, eventually get to the third. And it was cool to see how far guilds made it, you know, through. I remember, you know, checking online, see how far guilds made it. And then during, I think it was like halfway through Lich King, they changed it. I think it was after, what was the raid? The Undar? What was it? I don't remember. It was the one where you have to do the tank fight at the beginning. I think it was like some point in that raid they changed the whole, I think like normal, I think heroic came out, right? And that's when there was like one tier, and this is the difficulties, normal and heroic. They switched that. I don't know. I really liked the BC version of it, and I thought it was cool to see. And I think that's why I was mad, and I switched to PvP, and I just did a lot of PvPing, doing all kinds of like achievements for it and stuff like that, and did a lot of like mount collecting, stuff like that. I did a lot of that stuff. I stopped getting into the raiding around that time, and then let's see, I played up to WoD, and I got really tired of the game. I did not like the direction it was going. And, you know, like that's the first wave of WoW refugees. But anyways, let's dial it back a little bit. So WoW was like my third, or kind of my, well, second MMO, but third game that got me into the genre itself. Funny time, there was a time where, I don't know, you guys remember the game Rift that came out? I played Rift for a little bit. And actually, I'll show you guys real quick. I was showing my chat the other day, but yeah, here's Rift. You guys remember that? Look at, I got Walmart, only at Walmart, exclusive pet. Do you guys? I don't know if you guys remember this game, but yeah, I mean, it's got like the cool, like it's got cool artwork and stuff like that. Got into it. It's supposed to be another WoW killer. Yeah, we know how that went. But Rift, the one thing I'll say about Rift, right? The one thing is the events that they did in Rift were really, really, really cool. Like if I had to give like credit, that was something new, something really cool that Rift did is definitely the Rift events around the world were really, really cool. And obviously other MMOs at that time put it in their games as well. I don't know which one was the first, but for me, Rift was the first for the world events. So I played I think I only got to like level 30 in Rift. And that was mostly like downtime on like WoW stuff. And because like, dude, you were not going to play Rift against like World of Warcraft time, right? I mean, it was back in WoW's prime, like the highest, and WoW was just insanely growing. Kind of curious if Rift would have done better at a different time. Probably not, though, to be honest. It wasn't that bad of a game, but it just wasn't anything like WoW was. So yeah, I played a little bit of Rift. Not bad of a game, but nowhere near as good as what WoW used to be. After Rift and after WoW, this is pretty much the time of WoD. I think it was around WoD, maybe a little bit before. It might have been part of Mists of Pandaria, because I think I started playing like on and off Mists of Pandaria a little bit. And yeah, I was not a fan of the whole panda thing, right? Because I remember that was a big thing of people complaining about pandas when Mists of Pandaria came out. But I didn't mind Mists of Pandaria though. I thought it was kind of a fun expansion. Anyways, after that, I tried Guild Wars 2 out. Guild Wars 2, I actually got to max level in Guild Wars 2. I can't remember. I think it was just like an archer. I can't remember what the class was, but it was a bow class. I thought there was a pet because I'm a hunter. Like, well, my hunter became my main in WoW, and I've always liked bow characters, and like with the pets and stuff, I thought it was cool. That you could literally have all these kinds of different pets and they do different things. I thought that was always cool to that class. So I played something similar to that. I don't remember the class name of it. Guild Wars 2 was another game that really had cool events like Rift. I would say it was kind of the next level. They had like the jump puzzle stuff. That was also really cool. And like completing the whole area. That was all cool, and the dragon fights that they did were awesome. I remember that, like the open world, like big ass dragons coming down and fighting was very, very cool. The PvP was also pretty fun as well, which is kind of rare with another MMO. World versus World I thought was very cool, and the big fights that you could do there was also very, very cool. And it's just, it wasn't a bad game overall. I'm trying to think what happened after Guild Wars 2. Oh, after Guild Wars 2, there was a game called ESO that was coming out online, and I've always said, I'm like, man, if Elder Scrolls ever made an MMO, it would be sick, right? ESO to me, so after Guild Wars 2, after getting level 80 and stuff and playing that for a bit, I didn't get like hardcore. There was no raids in Guild Wars 2. I think that's kind of why I stopped. The end game was, to me, a little like lackey, because I don't remember what the end game was when vanilla Guild Wars 2. If you guys play Guild Wars 2, you'd have to tell me like what. I think there was like something to get like this like legendary gear. We had to do all this like kind of crazy stuff. But I think that's the reason why I stopped Guild Wars 2 though, is there wasn't really an end game to it that I remember. At least my reasoning why. But then ESO was coming out, I think around the same time or a little bit later than Guild Wars 2. And I remember playing beta for Elder Scrolls Online, and I was like, oh, you know, give them a chance. I remember people complaining, like, in there, like, oh, this is gonna be crap when it comes out, this and that. And when ESO came out, I don't know, it was okay. The most impressive thing for ESO, honestly, to me, is all voice acted, which is absolutely insane. In an MMO, like, every character in the game is voice acted, which is absolutely insane. The game has grown a lot, like, recently. So has Guild Wars 2. I have not played Guild Wars 2 since vanilla Guild Wars 2. I haven't played any expansions, nothing like that. So I'm thinking maybe one day I might like go try it out because they got a new expansion coming out here pretty soon. Maybe one of these days I'll check it out again. It's been a really long time. But ESO, my problem with ESO, I've tried multiple times getting into ESO. I think I usually get between like level 25 and level 30 through like questing and completing all the stuff. Like completing the whole zone because it has like all the lists of things that you have to get, like the crystals, the little temple things, the teleport. Right. Well, I don't know, like the combat at ESO, I just don't like. It has not enough action bars, and I don't like the whole swap weapon thing. I just never really cared for it, and yeah, it just wasn't my cup of tea, I want to say, or my cup of coffee because I don't drink tea. But ESO, that was my big problem. The combat. Also, I didn't like how the end game, they were pretty much doing like Paragon levels in a way, which I hated in Diablo 3. Like, I'm not even going to talk about, like, I did play Diablo 3. I literally bought a new computer for Diablo 3. I was very disappointed with Diablo 3, because Diablo 3 would probably be around this time as well. But yeah, did not care for Diablo 3 at all. I did for a little bit, and then, like, for a couple weeks, and then it was pretty much gone. After that, because I was so disappointed, because I'm a huge Diablo 2 fan. But yeah, ESO played a little bit when it first came out, and then I played it even later. When I played like ESO recently, like 2 years ago or something like that, trying to get into it. No, it was about a year or two. It was before the Skyrim one came out. But the game after ESO, which is hilarious. I remember watching videos about it. I remember that they're going to bring back hardcore raiding. Like raiding used to be in World of Warcraft. This was supposed to be the next WoW killer. This was supposed to be this big next crazy MMO game. And that game is WildStar. And to show you guys, which you probably won't see much at all, is WildStar. I got WildStar. And yeah, this game I enjoyed. I actually got the max level in this game. I did the first like raid. I remember struggling through it. That's like the thing. But honestly, like I enjoyed it. My biggest thing, like, yeah, they had the what was it? Pick a side, go to war. The housing though was good in WildStar. I actually did like that. The leveling wasn't too bad. The housing was really good. The gameplay was a little whack. But I think like my biggest like gripe about WildStar is what I said earlier in this video. I like fantasy a lot more than sci-fi. And that kind of like dropped it down for me, right? Because it just wasn't fantasy. And honestly, like some people are kind of tired of the tab target. I don't know, man. I like the tab target. I like, it's not amazing. You know what game I need to play to try out, even though like is Black Desert Online, because I heard amazing things about the combat, and maybe I'll change my opinion on it just by trying that gameplay type. But I've actually not tried Black Desert Online. I think I tried it like a little bit, but not like maybe like a half hour. but I never actually gave it a full like shot. But yeah, WildStar, it was something. Unfortunately, it is completely gone now, and you cannot play the game at all. But yeah, I did get to max level first raid. I think I played a warrior. I think it was a warrior. And then like I had a healer and stuff like that. And I remember the dungeons were hard. The raiding was tough. It was pretty fun, but yeah. WildStar didn't make it, and even I lost interest in it as well when that came out after time. It was actually the time when my son Max was born, and I remember being very excited to grind it out. And every time that my son was sleeping, I would hop on and do a few questing, and I remember those were good times. Those good times. Like I had fun with WildStar, but it definitely was not a WoW killer at all. So. Also around this time, I played a game called Final Fantasy XIV, and I think this is when Heaven's Ward came out. Now, with Final Fantasy XIV, like right now I'm playing Final Fantasy XIV. When Heaven's Ward came out, I did enjoy it. My only problem with it at the time is I had no friends. No one was playing Final Fantasy XIV that I knew of, and I did enjoy the little bit that I played, but I don't like playing an MMO like by yourself, right? And so I kind of stopped playing that. And around this time is a big game for me that I played for a very long time, still play till this day, was another action RPG that came out that to me was more of a true success of Diablo 2. I thought it was way better than Diablo 3. And that was Path of Exile. Path of Exile came out, and Path of Exile took a lot of my time. Like I have probably getting close. I'm probably between 2,500 to 3,000 hours into it. I remember I played the beta for PoE. I really enjoyed it. It was clunky and stuff like that. The combat wasn't that smooth, but the game overall I thought was like fun. It was challenging. It felt a lot like Diablo 2, or at least reminded me of Diablo 2. Just not with the smoothness at the time. And yeah, I really enjoyed PoE. Like, still to this day, I play PoE. I played every league since... I don't think I played... Like, the last league I didn't play was Beastry. So, it's been definitely a few years, and I'm very excited for Path Exile 2. And PoE took a huge chunk of my time, really get into it. And that has, like, MMO features as well. Like, the trading that they have in that game is literally like an auction house. It has pricing, has an economy. It's just really cool to do a build that maybe no one has ever done. And I really enjoy that about PoE. Like, you could literally come up with a build, like, with, like, combo of weapons or certain armor types, and you can come up with, like, this crazy thing just because how much is in the game. And I'm actually very excited for this new league coming out next month. But we all know how February is going to be next month with games, especially, you know, with Lost Ark coming out and stuff like that. So pretty much I won't talk too much about PoE because it's an action RPG, even though I think it has like some MMO elements with economy and just like leaderboards and stuff like that. And I played that for quite a bit. Like, that became like my only game for a while. And then I got more and more friends into it, and then it became even more addicting, because when I started PoE, not many people played it. They didn't think it was that good. This is back when, like, PoE launched and stuff like that. And it was very tough. I remember getting my ass whooped by Dominus and stuff back when there was only 3 acts in the game. But after PoE, I played... Well, I wouldn't say after PoE, because I'm still playing PoE. But during the PoE times, I skipped... So, I remember I took a break from WoW and WoD. And I skipped all of Legion. because I just wasn't interested at all getting into, like, just thinking about it and like what I had to do, the grind and get into the game and stuff like that. But I heard, and I remember watching the Legion stuff, and I was like, oh, Legion could be a pretty good expansion. It seems like with the transmog thing coming in, seeing all that, like legendaries they were bringing back, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool because it's been a long time. I was like, man, Legion could be pretty good, but I'm just not in the mood, and I'm kind of enjoying Path Exile a lot more right now. And then, so I skipped all of Legion. I did not play Legion at all, and it seemed like a decent amount of people liked it. Like they still had problems with like certain things in game. Because I've always kept up with WoW. I still do even to this day. I keep up with the news. I keep up with watching Asmongold videos, of course. You know, getting all the news, watching what people are saying on Twitter. Because like, I am like really attached to the game, but I obviously don't like wait. Like I don't think. I feel like Blizzard's at a state, at least in my mind, that like I don't know if they'll ever make a good game ever again. Like I just don't know. Maybe they'll make a good mobile game and maybe become a good mobile company to make money, but I know it sounds really harsh, but my trust is completely gone from Blizzard. I just do not trust them. And I don't think they've made a good game in a long time. I think Overwatch was their last like good game they made, and that's been what, 2016. Everything else after that, I mean, you could say Classic WoW was a success, but they're just like relaunching their old games. I don't really count that, I guess. Like, you know, like Classic WoW was a success, but really, it's just the same old game. You know what I mean? And speaking of Classic WoW, so well, here I'll say this: I played BFA. I literally played BFA for a month and I quit. I got the max level. I seen what I had to do to like raid and stuff, and I just wasn't motivated to do it. I don't want to do this. I remember leveling an alt for a little bit after that, and then I was like, I'm done. And I think I went back to PoE, if I'm honest, here. I don't know why I've said it, if I'm honest. I am honest, but, jeez. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm at the PoE, and then the latest expansion, Shadowlands, I literally played for like 2 weeks, which I did enjoy the Shadowlands questing. Like if I had to take one thing, I did enjoy the questing. I did some PvP, and the PvP was pretty fun at the time of Shadowlands, and after I played like PvP for a little bit, had fun with that, and then I was kind of thinking like, well, what else do I want to do? And do I want to try to get into raiding? And then like I started doing the world quests stuff, and I was like, I just got bored. I was just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And I didn't play Classic WoW at all. The biggest reason why I did not play Classic WoW is I played Classic. I played BC. Like I didn't even touch BC. It's just like it's the same thing with like their Diablo 2 remake. I played Diablo 2 so much back in the day, and I love the game, and I love the old times of WoW. But like, it's not going to be the same thing because everyone's played the shit out of the game, right? Like Classic WoW, like people are surprised how fast people level to level 60. It's just like there's been private servers this whole time. People have been playing Classic pretty much the whole time. There's been, you know, there's the whole private server, that ginormous one, the reason why Classic WoW happened. And I played all of it, and I didn't want to go back and do it again. I just don't have interest in doing it again. I'm happy for people that have enjoyed their time there, because it probably was a lot of fun and just reliving those memories and stuff. But like the game's just not the same because everyone knows what to do, and they min-max it, and like they destroyed the raids because they've been doing the raids for a long time. They know everything about it, and it just didn't interest me. The same thing with BC. Even when Black Temple comes out, I think that comes out very soon. Like they're gonna destroy it. It's not even gonna be close. People just know the fights too well, and it won't be the same because back in the day, no one knew. It was the new raid. No one knew what you were getting into, and it took a long time to learn those fights. But now the game's been out, and the private servers have been out for a very long time. Hell, there's still private servers out there. And there's still like that people practice and played it so much that they know. And yeah, and that's where I had no interest. It just wasn't going to be the same. At the same experience that I had. I'll never get that same experience because it was all new back then. And that's my biggest reason why I didn't play. And that's the reason why I didn't play Diablo 2 Resurrected. I knew that the end game of Diablo 2 was, to me, its weak spot, because it's the same end game. It's a very short end game. I see that they're finally doing a ladder. Yeah, there was no ladder even too, and then they're kind of changing up a few things, which I think they should do it. I think they should keep like a normal version of Diablo 2 for people that just want to play that vanilla version, but I think it'd be cool for them to just come up with leagues and do like a little bit of their own thing, or they change it up a bit. Because they didn't allow modders, so like Project Diablo and stuff like that, they didn't have any of that, which was like a far better version of Diablo 2, with adding a lot more to it, like mats and stuff like that. But yeah, those are my biggest reasons why I did not play those. And then after all this like WoW, like Classic, all that, and me playing Shadowlands, I did try ESO again. I started a brand new character to relearn the game. Like I said, this is when, right before whatever the Skyrim expansion was about to come out, I played again, and I played for I think like 2 or 3 weeks, and I got to pretty much the same point the first time I got to. I got to like level 25, level 30 ish, somewhere around there, on a warden class, and the combat just bored me. Like I got bored with the combat. Everything else, like ESO, like the crafting and stuff is really cool. The fishing, I really enjoy. The voice acting is really good. There's a lot of good stuff, and the big PvP Warzone thing they got going on there is really cool. But man, I can't get into the combat. It really bores me. And I think it has a few cool systems because they have raids in it now. They have, what is it? Like these like trial things. I don't know. They got like a leaderboards and stuff, which is like really, really cool, I think. But for me, I just couldn't get into it more. And then I got into a game after PoE Ultimate League. I decided, you know, I kind of want to get into an MMO. Like I kind of wanted to try Final Fantasy. I haven't tried Final Fantasy since Heaven's Ward. And I was like, man, I should try it, because I did enjoy it, but I didn't have any friends to play it. And at the time, I've been streaming now for a while, and I had a few friends, viewers that that they played it, and I was like, maybe this is a good time to like check this game out. Like I've been playing PoE for so long, it's kind of burnt out on the league, and I was like, you know what, let's just like try it. And man, did I fall in love with Final Fantasy. I'm not gonna tell you like why I loved Final Fantasy, because I already made a video about that, of the reasons why I love Final Fantasy 14, which you can check in my YouTube channel here. But Final Fantasy 14, man, is like I don't know, it's like revived my MMO love. I love everything about crafting, and the PvP obviously could be better, which I'm very excited for the new 6.1 to see what the PvP revamp is going to be like. And like the MSQ, the story is really good, but it's definitely not for everyone. I'm just trying to tell everyone. It's very interesting. Everyone talks about the story, right? Like the story is so good, and it is. It is really, really good. But me, I just love the MMO part. I love the systems in the MMO part, like the rep grinds. Working on leveling and stuff, doing fates, doing the trials, the raids. It's just been awesome. Like, it's just such a fun experience. I feel like I'm not wasting my time. And I'm just like, overall, I'm just happy. Like, I just get on. I always feel like my character progresses on something, right? Like, if I'm just leveling up my machinist right now, or like right now I'm leveling up my mining, I'm just chilling. you know, talking about my MMO history and just chilling here, just minding away, talking to you guys and girls. And I can't wait to can't wait for my kids to actually like get into like MMOs and the action RPGs. So like my favorite games right now is Final Fantasy 14 and Path of Exile by far. But yeah, Final Fantasy 14 has been a treat. I do recommend trying it, but I get it. I get ARR is a tough sell. Like the beginning is a tough sell. Personally, I didn't mind it. There's a lot of reading. It is a JRPG story, so there is a lot of reading, stuff like that. But if you just want to like do the MMO part, just skip the dialogue and stuff. I do want to make a video of things that maybe they can do with the MSQ. Maybe that'll be it very soon. But this is my MMO history. I don't want to get like too deep into that because I'll just talk about it. I'm very get very rambly, you know, like I ramble a lot, so I don't want to get into all that. But yeah, 14's been great for me. I think we're kind of into the MMO. I think the MMOs are spiking up again. There's been a lot of exciting stuff. I did not join New World at all. New World to me, the end game. I watched a lot of people stream it because I thought about trying it out. I thought about getting into it. But there's like no end game for me. The combat I think is like probably worse than ESO. Like there's less buttons. Like so I had a problem with ESO's combat with how many buttons there were and stuff. And New World has less buttons than ESO. So I was like, yeah, I'm probably not gonna get into this. And I watched the dungeons and stuff, and they just look awful. I'm sorry, they just do. The PvP doesn't look too bad. Like if I played New World, I think I would get into the crafting and the gathering for sure. Like that definitely looks like the best thing that it does. And I'm not saying New World's not worth it. I think New World is definitely worth 40 bucks. I think you can easily get, I go by like, if you can get $1 an hour, so if you can get like 40 hours out of the game, then you got your money's worth at least, right? And I think easily you can get that in New World. But I feel like New World needs a lot of work, and maybe they can get to a certain point, but I am also scared that they will get to hopefully not like pay to win stuff or like just silly goofy stuff like that whenever if they do any shop things. Like they've said some stuff that makes me like, I don't know, you know, but they got to make money somehow, so we'll have to see what goes on with New World. Lost Ark I'm very interested in. It seems like it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be massive in Twitch, at least for like a month or two. I think I'm kind of curious to see how it like plays out, because I feel like Lost Ark is a mix between like I feel like there's some people that WoW like it, but I know a lot of like MMO people don't like the whole action RPG click and move and stuff. And personally for me, it doesn't bother me at all. Because I play action RPGs, and I'm excited for it, but I kind of want to stick with 14 the most. But I'm definitely going to pay attention, watch what people do in Lost Ark and how it does. I think it's going to do great. I think there's definitely going to be a bigger community for it. I do think there's going to be a mix, though, of people that really enjoy it and then people that's just absolutely not for them. Because like people have a hard time with how Final Fantasy 14 looks, because it's like, you know, has kind of the, you know, it's Japanese. It has a weird aesthetic to it compared to like other. It's not like, it is fantasy. Some people think it's weeby. I don't think it's that. I actually don't think it's weeby really at all. Like I feel like Genshin Impact is the weeby game. You know what I mean? But it's, I don't know. I think Lost Ark could be really good, and hopefully it is. And like Ashes of Creation, I'm super excited for. Diablo 4, not really. I just don't trust Blizzard. I don't think it's going to be a good game. Hopefully I'm wrong, and Diablo 4 is awesome, but I honestly, I don't have any hope right now for it. And then they got like that weird Paragon system, and yeah, I just not very excited for it, and just keeping my expectations very low for Diablo 4. Because it's supposed to be an action RPG MMO. Like they're pretty much going like Lost Ark style with their next Diablo game. But we'll see. I know it'll be big on Twitch, at least for probably for a couple of weeks, and then we'll see where it goes after that. But yeah, I don't know. Is my for a second I thought my pickaxe was like broken. But yeah, this is like my MMO history of all the MMOs that I played. Like I said, there's like some web browser ones that I've played that I'm not gonna add it. Like some like weird pirate MMO game I played. There's like Wizard 101 I played a little bit as well. All that kind of silly stuff. But honestly, I just wanted to connect it with you guys. Maybe you have certain stories that you'd like to tell in the comments down below. I'd love to hear them. Or like, I would love to know your MMO history. What was your first MMO or your MMO timeline? I think it'd be really, really cool to see. But yeah, I wanted to make this to connect with more people, and hopefully you guys want to come and check my stream out. It's at twitch.tv/oldish22. And yeah, I play MMOs and action RPGs now. Used to be variety, but not no more. I'm focusing a lot on Final Fantasy 14. So if you guys like Final Fantasy 14, that's what I'll be playing for a while now, because I'm very excited for the future. And I trust Yoshi P a lot. Yoshi P is the reason why I want to stick with this game. What this guy can come up with. And yeah, I'm just very excited. So I hope you guys enjoyed these stories and the MMO history. Thank you again if you made it this far. It is a super long video, almost an hour long, so I apologize for that, but I kind of figured this was going to be a pretty long video. But thank you again, and I'll catch you guys next time for some more MMO videos, more MMO talks, hopefully going to start doing some guides and stuff, but I got to get good at this game first. I've almost played this for a year now, but I still feel pretty I feel pretty. No, I feel like a rookie still. So I got a lot to learn, but I'm hoping to get some guide videos out and stuff like that, and just more news stuff. I love talking MMOs. So if you guys like talking MMOs, come talk to me on Twitch. I'd really appreciate it. So thanks again, and I'll see you all next time. Have a good one, everyone. Adios. See you later.